Hi, my name is Scott Campshafer, and I'm a clinical social worker here in Austin, Texas. And I'm wanting to talk to you today about telltale signs of PTSD. And one of the things that it's important to understand for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, uh, it's more commonly called PTSD, of course, is something that is many people suffer from trauma, and especially these days with all of the disasters that are happening around us with the pandemic going on currently and the social and societal unrest, as great as it's been in a long time, many people suffer with trauma. About 70% of people over the course of their lifespan have dealt with some form of life-altering trauma. And for the people that deal with that on a chronic basis, or the trauma is so significant that it's overwhelming, they develop the PTSD. And that affects roughly around 10% of the population. But it is an extremely difficult and pernicious affliction to have, and it's helpful to know what the telltale signs of PTSD are. So what I wanted to do is go over some of those with you so that you have a better idea of either recognizing them in yourself or in a friend or family member, so that you can help and support them in getting the help that they need. Probably the single most distinguishing sign of PTSD are flashbacks. And flashbacks happen when you re-experience an event that happened. It doesn't matter whether it was 1 year ago, whether it was 15 years ago, or whether it was 50 years ago. When you re-experience it, it's almost like you're reliving it. You're not remembering it as most people remember things that change over time. You're remembering things in exactly the same way that they happen, again, as if you're reliving them. And so this is one of the most important telltale signs of PTSD that people experience. Another one that tends to happen with most, if not all, people who have PTSD is there's this feeling of emotional numbness that tends to pervade their life and their world. When people would normally get excited about things, someone with PTSD just tends to feel kind of numb and blah. So this is a common complaint. They may still be very easily startled by things and tend to get anxious. But the things that might make other people really happy and joyous don't tend to register that much, because they've been numbed out so much because of all the shock that goes with the PTSD. Another telltale sign of PTSD is that people tend to avoid things that remind them of the traumatic event or the memory. So, like if was involved in a aircraft crash when I was in the war, and I have trauma around that, or PTSD, I might avoid going to airports, or I might avoid seeing airplanes, because they bring up that feeling of, they may bring up the flashback, and they bring up the feelings that go with that when the flashback comes. And then another common telltale sign of PTSD is nightmares. People tend to have a lot of nightmares when they have PTSD, or if they do, not have nightmares that frequently, they may be a particular theme or a particular plot twist. But you always know if you have a nightmare is that if you wake up, you feel somehow unpleasant, unhappy, frightened, paralyzed, or whatever. So nightmares will happen if you have PTSD. Another telltale sign of PTSD is irritability, and sometimes that can come out as rage or anger, sometimes uncontrollably, and it's almost always out of proportion with what the triggering event was. They say, don't cry over spilled milk. Well, people who have PTSD can fly off the handle at spilled milk, or anything else that rises to that level, or maybe not even as high. So you're dealing with something that's out of proportion to what is really the situation, and that's when there's PTSD that may be behind that. And then one of the other final telltale signs that I'll go over with you today is this tendency for chronic insomnia. Because sleeping is usually not a pleasant experience for people who have untreated PTSD. So if they tend to have nightmares, or they, other things that tend to get in the way, or anxiety, they won't sleep well. And so you'll see, sleep deprivation, chronic insomnia, trouble getting to sleep, trouble, waking up early, combination of the two, or waking up frequently, because there's just so much stress that's involved with this disorder. So I hope you've learned what are some of the common telltale signs of PTSD are, and if you notice them in yourself or in somebody else that you care about, I urge you in the first place to get help for yourself if you're a sufferer. If you know somebody who's dealing with this, you can give them my number, you can call me, you can fill out the form at the bottom of the blog post. But in any case, get help for yourself, because this is something that it's bigger than what one person can manage, and getting professional help is probably just as, or if not more, essential for somebody who suffers from PTSD than just about any other mental health condition. So if you're in the Central Texas area, you can reach out to me. If I can't help you, I can point you to somebody who can. But in any case, do what's best for your own mental health, and it started perhaps today by you watching this video, and I hope it will continue for you in every way possible, so that you are happy and healthy and have a fulfilling life. So thank you for watching, and take good care.